So somebody was asking what makes her mill work. How does it work? So here's her 671 Detroit. They're big engines. I don't know what they are. 180, 200 horsepower. Probably less. It runs. This is the shaft. We just shortened it there yesterday. Used to come out a lot further. And that's cracked. There's another one ordered. So we put a shield over it and it's there. Anyway, it beat to hell now, but we'll put it back together before we run it tomorrow. We were having trouble with the, something's going on that made this one go up and down. So we pulled the 8x8s we had out underneath it and dropped it lower to the ground. If there wasn't ice everywhere, so we would have drilled it into the concrete. But so it goes from the engine. It's got a steady bearing. It's reduced down to fit that because this was on a different motor and we had a fucking whole thing. But goes to a U-joint, comes in here. That's auxiliary transmission out of an old, I don't know what, dump truck. It's a 4-speed. We rub the edge at 1800 RPM. That runs the blade at 750. 750 is the speed we want it to run at. This is my hydraulic system. It's pretty simple. The guy that built it with the chain, and it blew apart so fast it's not even funny. Well, this isn't running on the same plane as the shaft down here. So the shaft comes out of that, goes to another U-joint. You've got your pulley for a V-belt. It comes down. I don't know what the gear reduction is there. Looks like 3-to-1. Comes into this hydraulic pump. It's got a Lovejoy there. And that chain was on it. It beat the fuck out of the Lovejoy. We flipped it around anyway. It's a little bit of an abomination, but it works. It's got a hydraulic tank, cooler. Leaks. I've retaped it a couple times. Still leaks. I don't know what to tell you. The hoses come underneath here. And they run up to this. It's pretty simple. Lever, right? The only other thing that goes on with that shaft is it goes through a couple more bearings. There's one right beside the blade. This whole green thing is one unit with the saw blade, the tank, and all that. Underneath it, there's some bigger I-beam. You can kind of see it in the back there. So everything for that I-beam down is another piece. So it's all shimmed up with that ready rod and leveled. So we can tweak the carriage. I had to add more adjusters, but we can shift it any way we want to shift it to set our lead and everything. But I got sidetracked. So the hydraulics run down here. Underneath that sawdust, there's a hydraulic pump, or a motor, sorry. And it runs through a coupler to that chain. That chain spins that winch drum. We've had a lot of trouble with that system. The guy that built it mangled it. Didn't mangle it, but he built it wrong. And it killed itself. We just keep getting bigger couplers. They've got plastic inside them, and that's what shears rather than the metal now. When it comes to that pulley, there's one on the other side, the same size. I don't know what the gear reduction is. I don't know how many foot-pounds of torque this thing takes. All I know is it's got a 15 horsepower hydraulic motor. Comes to this, you put a pipe wrench on this thing. There's a little gear down there with a tab that's probably barely holding on for its life. Yep, right there underneath that sawdust. It always does that. Anyway, that works that. Our carriage. You got numbers here. You do the math in your head for the cut. So, right here I was cutting, well, that's my opening cut, but it's for a 6x6. Basically keep it over 8 inches. If it's a small log, 7.5. 8 inches, straight log. You won't have any bark on a 6x6. 7.5 inches, small log, you'll have a little bit. You can get down to 7 inches if you really want, but you're not getting much of a 6x6. These are all 16 foot. I've got 100 and some on order, and then we've got lots more to cut. so that's good. Using my saw guides. I run them wider than you should, but that's just the way our saw is. There's a piece of ready rod in there. That adjusts it. It's all covered in sawdust, always is. It's an arm, it comes out, there's two pieces. Pretty simple. Open it, close it, do whatever you do. Run it at the proper RPM, and then adjust it. Don't run it when it's not running, or don't adjust it when it's not running, because it just won't work right. So this conveyor, we built that out of a hay elevator, welded some paddles on it, threw a couple chunks of hemlock on it. Put on the bottom, there's some sheet steel wrapped around a shaft to make it so the paddles don't get stuck. Bob's your uncle. Nice and simple. Electric motors out on the end of it. Out there. That's wired into my big generator. I've got it out of plug, so if we are rid of the big generator, I could run it off the little one. It's in here with some wood. That wood's pulling the building at a level, so I've got to do something. I'm thinking at the top of the roof here, or the ceiling, or whatever you want to call it, top of the wall, I'm going to put a couple pulleys and run some cable, and then bring it straight down to the ground and anchor it into the concrete that's under there, and hopefully that fixes it. This side of the mill, pretty much just a bunch of rollers. These ones are covered in sawdust, always are, probably always will be. I'm building some powered rollers for this section. We just installed these guys. Yes, I know it needs a guard. The one that was on it was too bulky and the wood was going to hit it, and we're pressed for time now, so keep your fingers away from the chain. The guys don't even touch this roller. The wood works its way down to the end and dumps off the end, so whatever. We're going to put a piece of sheet steel on that green thing, bend it on a 45 degree, and run it down from here to here so the wood will slide off of it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The rollers I'm putting here are going to have steel wrapped around them, and I'm going to have a stop down here somewhere at the 20-foot mark. It'll pop up if something needs to go to the edger, and where they're going to have stuff wrapped around them, it'll convey them that way. The way this works is the guy that runs the edger, which is right here, pulls the boards as they come off the mill. If they need edged, he brings them over here and puts them through the edger. It runs off a 600-volt electric motor. It's 50 horsepower. This edger won't be in here much longer. I've got a newer one that we're going to install a gang saw on. It's got 2 movable blades instead of 1 fixed, 1 movable. And it's about 70 fucking years newer. This thing is ancient. It works, it does the job. I bought it. The guy told me it was in good shape. It wasn't. I had to learn how to rebuild an edger. And anyway, it's cobbled together enough that it works. And that's that. So the wood comes down here. I wired in an electric motor here underneath this guy. Oh, right there. And it brings the wood down here. So we were cutting 6x6 16 today, and then we had trouble with that shaft that I noticed, so we shut the mill down. And we were dicking with it all day. So the guys did some cleaning. It looks nice. I mean, it looks like a mess here, but it's better than it was. The edgerman sits here, takes the boards, helps the guy out on the mill. So we run 2 guys on the end of the mill, an edgerman, me running the saw, or Colin running the saw, and someone helping. Yeah, you can run it with less guys, but this way we cut a 6x6 16 foot every 3 minutes. And in those 3 minutes, all of the sideboards that come off of it are cut to width, cut to length, and stacked in a pile. So it works well for us. Can it be more efficient? Yes. Will it be more efficient? Some point. So we sort them by width and length. We do 8-inch over here, 16 foot in the back, 12, 10, 8 for our lengths. I should cut 14s, but we don't really have the space here. Then we do 6-inch. What we do is, for when we're stacking them close together, we run 16 in the back on one, 8 foot in the back on the other, so that we can stagger the piles outwards and they don't link in with each other. It works pretty good so long as you've got a skill saw or something to cut them to length with as you go. So 2x6, 8 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot, and 16 foot, and then we do our strapping. This was a mess the other day. The guys have cleaned it up since, but it looks like they put things in the wrong pile again. Big surprise. This is our 16-foot pile. Pretty self-explanatory. Then 12 foot, 10 foot. I don't know why there's a big gap here. And then we do 8 foot up front. We get a lot of 1x4 8 foot. That's our mill. Works good when it works. Usually feed it with a tractor. I do have a forklift. It's old, it's big, it's bulky. It sucks in the mud, gets stuck all the time, but we used to load sea containers and it was necessary. I got a payloader that's been broke down for about a year too. Still waiting on the guy to fix it. He's had my injectors for like 6 months. This is just old edger boards that got frozen and never got run, but there you go. Yeah, and I forgot one other thing. Here's my generator. It's an 855 small cam Cummins. Guess the turbo seal must be leaking. I don't know, we started running 100% waste engine oil through it, and I never preheated it, so it could just be not fully burnt fuel. I really don't know. Oh, whatever. Dipstick's not going down. Bought this at auction for $800, and it works. Or $850. Yep, not going down. It had 15 minutes of runtime on the tack. That was a steal of a deal. I honestly didn't even go up and look at it. I just bought it, and I did not realize it was so big. I just bought a chipper this week. It's coming up. We're going to chip all our slab for the most part. And that's going to run 50 horse electric. And then I've got 100 horse for the mill we want to put in this summer. So I'll have 50 on an edger, 50 on a chipper, 100 on the mill, and some auxiliary stuff. That generator can do 250-ish horsepower, I believe. I've been told it's 158 kVA. When this is done, and there's a lean-to coming to that. It's going from here to there. There's going to be a roof. So that's going to get deleted. It's going to go gone. And this guy, which was supposed to be under a lean-to from here, but equipment failures proved that to be a lie, is coming in here. All that paneling is getting moved to here so we can shorten up all of our wire runs. And this is going to be to that post. Is going to take the generator's going to be in here and all of my paneling, and that's going to make it way easier for everything, and we're going to get a little bit modernized here. What else? So once that's done, everything on that side of the mill is going to be automated aside from the lumber stacking. I've got a green chain I'm building to cross convey this way, so we can take all those piles and turn them like that. And then I can build a road over here, because there's already good dirt. And it'll come in, and I'll scoop the lumber up here and take it out all the way down here. And then it'll be on this side too. So picture the lumber coming off the end of the mill, like that. And then it goes real slow like that. So we can like triple the feed rate here. And it is the same speed for them. And then we're going to have an automated chipper off the end of it. And that means when that side's automated, then I can buy myself a air/hydraulic carriage. and I can sit in a saw cab and I can just saw wood all day and not move. These guys have to have chains put on them and automated. And this is the result of not debarking your logs. The skids become one with the earth. We are going to have to dig all of this out, put boards underneath all of this, and then I will drive the tractor up here and back drag it once a week. That will get rid of all this, because underneath the building portion is boards, and down 5 feet is the ground. So this log deck's held up by steel, but the rest of the floor is just wood. So it's neat. The building cuts in right there. You see that wall? And then it goes over to about the saw and goes over. So there's actually a concrete pad. I did a video on that a while ago over here, and then it's under the mill is like crawl space, right? And it's nice because I can put all my stuff. I can put this underneath. I can put an air compressor underneath. I can put little hydraulic pumps underneath. Everything I want to do can go underneath. And it's out of the way. Can't get hit by stuff. Doesn't get covered in sawdust. It'd be a good day. So it's coming along. We've got big plans. We've always got big plans. But first step, we got the wall boarded in. Substantially quieter for everybody but us. I need to cut a hole in the wall for windows, because I can't stand not being able to see down into the mill yard when people pull up. And that is the mill. If you got any questions, just ask.